Welcome to Homeschool Nolan, here to help you navigate learning in the digital age. If you follow the news, you may have noticed that a lot of tech companies lately have been announcing layoffs. Now, as someone who works in tech myself, I naturally take an interest in this subject. Now, I myself have been laid off a couple times before. The last time was over 15 years ago. And I'm certainly under no illusion that it could never happen to me again. That said, I like to think that I did learn some valuable lessons that younger workers today who have never experienced an economic downturn before might appreciate. So today, I'd like to share a couple of important lessons that these current tech layoffs offer for millennials and the younger generations as well. First, when I say millennials, I'm referring to the generation of young adults that entered the workforce after the last Great Recession of 2009. Most of these people were born between, say, 1982 and 2000. Now that's significant because they don't have any memory of losing a job in a recession. And the Great Recession actually benefited those who worked in the tech sector over the previous decade. Let me explain. When the Great Recession hit in 2009, the U.S. Federal Reserve responded with the policy of quantitative easing, whereby they bought securities on the open market with the goal of reducing interest rates and increasing the money supply. This drop in interest rates to near zero caused a boom in the stock market, particularly in tech stocks. Cheap money also meant more money to invest in tech startups. Tech workers, including myself, that were paid in stock definitely benefited from the rise in tech stocks and cheap money during the 2010s. Millennials, as the new young workers on the scene and being perceived as tech savvy, also benefited from age discrimination. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg was once famously quoted as saying, quote, "I want to stress the importance of being young and technical. Young people are just smarter." Now, while I was never a victim of ageism myself, I heard a lot of stories during the previous decade of workers around my age or older who were being condescended to in job interviews by young millennials who are now running many tech companies. People my age were told that we weren't a cultural fit and we just didn't come across as cool or as tech savvy enough to work for a lot of these Zuckerberg wannabes. Now, I don't mean to pick on millennials. Every generation can be cocky when they're young. It's part of growing up. But what amazes me is how the next generation always seems to think that what happened to the previous generation before could never happen to them. Nothing illustrates this better than a couple of YouTube videos made by a young millennial, which one of my colleagues shared with me a couple of weeks ago. The first video was of the genre, "I got laid off" from a famous tech company. But what I found more interesting was another video the same man posted 6 months earlier that was of the genre, "A day in the life of a software engineer at a famous tech company." Now, I started my own career amongst software engineers over 2 decades ago. So to me, a day in the life of a software engineer is someone toiling away, sitting in front of a screen 10 to 12 hours a day, trying to solve difficult problems. And the reason I'm not a software engineer today is because it is very competitive and very difficult. So I was quite surprised when this young man in his video began by saying, quote, "The barrier to entry with being a software engineer is so low that really anyone can do it." Well, and instead of focusing his video on him in front of a computer screen trying to solve software problems, he begins his day in his video watching YouTube, taking his time to make breakfast, and making a latte using a fancy stainless steel espresso coffee machine. It then shows him sharing some moments chilling with his dog and hanging out with his wife. He then talks about starting his workday in Dallas later in the morning, just as colleagues on the West Coast are coming online. When lunchtime rolls around, it shows him driving in his Tesla to pick up some food at a very nice barbecue restaurant. In short, his day as a software engineer, as portrayed in his video, certainly didn't look like the stressful days I remember as a software engineer 2 decades ago. It seemed more like relaxing and chilling at home with some work at home sprinkled in. But needless to say, this work from home lifestyle as a software engineer has come to an end, at least for now. He's probably now learning some of the same lessons I learned about work a couple decades ago. And these lessons are valuable, not just for millennials, but for all the younger generations as well, including my own kids. First, don't take the good times for granted. If history is any guide, the tech industry will eventually emerge out of this recession and the good times will come back. And when it does, there will be a new generation of young workers entering the workforce who don't remember this current recession. And when those good times come back, it's important for everyone to remember that nothing lasts forever and to keep working hard as if your company could lay off anyone tomorrow. As we've seen in the last couple of years, the world can change very fast. There was a reason why some tech companies that had near monopolies could spoil their employees with high pay and perks during the past decade. But it simply wasn't sustainable. It never is. Think about it. If jobs like software engineering really do have a, quote, a low barrier to entry, then just about anyone can do it. But if anyone can do it, why would companies pay good money for anyone to do it? The only way you can ensure a high-paying job is to have rare and valuable skills. I got the term from Cal Newport, author of the book, So Good They Can't Ignore You. And it makes sense that someone will keep paying you a lot of money only if you have a skill that's rare and valuable. Now back to software engineering. Maybe the barrier to entry to software engineering is low, but the barrier is high if you want to be one of the best who can make a huge impact. Developing rare and valuable skills usually takes years of dedication and hard work. And of course, developing these rare and valuable skills is much easier said than done. Most people, by definition, cannot have rare and valuable skills. That's why it's important to learn this lesson early. If you're a parent or teacher, you should start as early as possible to teach your kids just how competitive the world really is. And no matter how good they think they are at something, there's always someone who is better. Now, I know not every parent will agree with me on this one. It's only natural to want to make your child feel good by boosting their self-esteem. But I think our kids will be better off in the long run knowing that the world is very competitive and thereby pushing themselves to be the very best they can be in whatever field they're in. By the way, if you're looking for an online platform for learning, check out Study.com. Study.com has over 8,300 engaging videos in English, math, science, and many other subjects. I use it with my son, and we find it to be a great way to support his homeschooling as well as my own supplemental learning. Use the coupon code HOMESchoolNolan and get 30% off the first 3 months. Check out Study.com today. When you get to be as old as I am, you start to realize that history does sometimes repeat itself. Nonetheless, there will always be those who say, this time it's different. Now, nobody knows for sure how this current recession will turn out or how long it will last. But all of us, no matter what stage we are in life, should recognize that neither good nor bad times last forever. And we should always strive to work hard and do our best. And the only real protection we have against getting laid off or losing a job is by developing those rare and valuable skills. And I hope this video has been helpful if you're thinking about how you want to navigate and approach these uncertain times. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to click subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.